All right. In today's video, I wanted to highlight something important about the Apple II emulator, specifically for AppleWin. The boot disks that are usually included are not perfect, but I wanted to make a decent boot disk that works for most of the emulated machines anyway. Let's get started. So we're going to select a disk image. We're going to select a blank disk image. And then we're going to save this in the Apple II Win folder anyway. And we're going to call this boot. And it's a DOS order disk. And without making anything too complicated, we'll close that. I booted a blank DOS 3.3 disk here, so we don't really need CiderPress anymore. But we're going to have to change this to the blank disk that we just created. Keeping in mind that I already loaded DOS 3.3 on here. One of the more important things that you have to do when booting from a startup file is that you need to tell DOS 3.3 if it's a basic file, a text file that needs to be executed, or like a batch file or something, or a binary file. In this case, we're going to do a binary file. And to do that, you have to poke the value 52 into memory. And then we can init boot. And the reason why I'm calling this boot and not hello is because by convention, hello would be a basic program. So let's go ahead and init the boot file here. The boot disk is loaded. This is going to take a little bit of time because I'm emulating the disk speed somewhat accurately. It's not perfect, but it's pretty darn close. And forgive me, I'm not doing this from a script, so I'm going strictly from memory here. Okay, so now that this has been properly booted, or initialized rather, we have to delete the boot file because that's going to be written in BASIC. We don't want it in BASIC. Or at least it's saved as BASIC, but default, we don't want it to be BASIC. Anyway, now we can go into copying the assembly language routine that I had written. And this is a very simple thing to do. And the program is very simple. I'll have a link to the assembly language file that created this beneath the video. So let's go with that. And now we could save this boot file. And there we go. Now that's saved, we can lock it. If I can type today, I'm going to lock the boot file. And it's ready to go. So let's go ahead and I'm going to close this. We'll boot this. And it should load up with all the proper information. But the reason why I did it this way is because, this is binary. On an older Apple, let's go with the original. If I had chosen BASIC, let's say AppleSoft BASIC wasn't available on the original Apple II. So I have to, so it's going to properly execute the startup file, but go directly into integer BASIC, the original BASIC that was included. And the DOS 3.3 command should still work. Also, it should be noted that the program that I had written resets that value at 4051 or 514, sorry, to the default value, which allows it to run a basic program. So if I did init hello on a blank disk, it'll properly work. It'll properly run a basic program. All right, so now that's tested. I wanted to show something else. The reason why I made modifications to this is because if I select clone and select, let's say, a TK3000, let's go ahead and boot that. It's going to properly show the machine ID here, identifying the clone separate from an Apple II. This is extremely useful. The only downside to this is I'm going to tweak it a little bit more later on to where I can specifically say that the caps lock has to be down because, as you know, the TK3002E emulates a later 2E with the caps lock key, and lowercase characters do not, or at least lowercase commands, do not work on DOS 0.3. You have to have the caps lock down. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully this will be helpful for you. Below, like I said, I'll include a link to the assembly language file and the boot file. I just want the process to be a little seamless. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Thank you very much.